legendary of all shit talkers. And
That's
that is
good.
how we start our podcast. Kevin Garnett, the most incredible of all shit talkers of all time in the NBA.
Can we change the title? I was going to say, we should change the title of that. Kevin Garnett, the most legendary shit talker of all time.
We can't put shit in the title. Unfortunately, YouTube will take it down.
Fine.
But
Kevin Garnett, the biggest trash talker of all time.
He is. That's true. Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode. And we were just discussing Spects' dream NBA Finals matchup. He had one, and I convinced him of a different one.
Well, to be fair, both of them are dreams. Just
both of them are great.
Way sweeter. One would be way sweeter because I haven't had the pleasure of seeing this happen. Originally, it was LeBron James beating the Cavaliers in 7 in Cleveland, and they're retiring. But then CJ said, "Now Game 7 in Boston." Then he retired.
Yeah,
that's better.
That to me,
he ends dethroning the Celtics in their building, getting that fake loser Jason Tatum another L in the championship series in the title game. Because we know he doesn't have one in my personal record book because he beat up a Mavericks team that was way worse than they were. So he doesn't have a ring in my personal record book.
I mean, we'll talk about the Mavs later, but yeah. I don't know. The Mavs, though, were legitimately good. Here's the thing, though. I think we're all shifted our view of the Mavs because of what has happened over the last month and a half.
Like they went from really good to
probably that next tier after Oklahoma City as a championship favorite, like probably top 5 favorite, to this team might be the most cursed sports franchise in the history of existence. You know,
I'm gonna put it mildly, and I think I said this tonight, the week after it happened. Mm-hmm. And I think Bryce I think we all kind of agreed on it. You don't trade for Anthony Davis.
No, and that's
especially
the thing is
when
like
that involves trading away Luka, because the whole thing is like we said, and we briefly talked about Jeannie Buss's like Rich Eisen show interview, where it's like, oh, we had to think about it because we're in shock, but I'm like, there's no way you don't take that deal. You're sort of just like you're sort of, if you watch Futurama when Amy's buying her car, she doesn't know how to haggle, and she's like going up.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's really what's going on. Is you're like they're just laughing and clapping their feet. Like, what are you talking about? Like, sure, we'll do it.
And I'm sure part of that was just like trying to save face a little bit, being like, oh, it's hard to make these moves. It's a tough business, but yeah, there wasn't a second thought that happened with that trade.
Like, I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit where it's like, oh, because Lakers do have a history of like great big men for years.
It's true.
Like,
Pau,
from
Shaq.
Like Pau, Shaq, Kareem, all of them. So it's not Anthony Davis is in there. So I mean, it's not like we don't have the history of it, but also too, there's also the history of great Laker guards.
Just great Laker players in general, because it's the NBA
so it's like
franchise.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you don't. So all that being said, the Mavericks are just cursed.
Yeah, like it is incredible how far they have fallen. They had worked to get a team around Luka, and here they are. Kyrie Irving tears his ACL, which I feel bad. That wasn't great. Anthony Davis
gets hurt in his first game, and he's like, I might not come back if Kyrie's not back.
3 quarters in, and he's that leaked this week, right? That he's basically like, hey, I'm probably not going to play. Like,
if Kyrie's not going to come back,
which he won't because he tore his ACL. So,
but what's so remarkable is the minute that happened, all of my buddies we're all Laker fans out here,
right?
We're just like, this is why. This right here is the reason you got rid of him.
Yes. Yeah, that's man, and God, I just feel so.
And
bad
every
for
time we talk,
fans.
and every time we talk about this too, we said they had Jalen Brunson, they had Luka,
they did. Jalen Brunson, I give him a slight pass, not a full pass, like a slight pass, because he was not Knicks Jalen Brunson.
No, he wasn't.
He was really good, right? And they still should have matched the offer and everything, but that one I can kind of get a little.
And they kind of, and to be fair, they sort of built around him too a little bit more.
Yeah.
with guys he played with, like because we had the Villanova Knicks for a while there with all of them.
Yeah. So, but still, like, man, from NBA Finals runner-ups to this might be the worst position franchise in the NBA in like
it's not
9
even like,
months.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, it's not even like, oh, they can just rebuild and reshape. They have nothing because they didn't want anything.
They have nothing. They didn't want anything back. Like,
no, they got a future pick for 31. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's sure, I guess. And then Anthony Davis, whatever you could potentially get from him, but he's hurt all the time. So it's like,
I don't know.
32.
I mean, I guess realistically, like, oh, they might have more cap room. I don't think they even have that much cap room.
I don't think they do either. Because, like, part of it too with the cap room thing is like, a lot of times they're way over that apron anyway. That like, if you send salary out, there's nothing you can do with. You can't just like go sign someone because you're still over the cap.
So in terms, so cap space, they're negative $47 million.
Yeah. I mean, they can get rid of Anthony Davis and not be able to sign anybody.
Yeah, because of AD.
Yeah.
And then first apron, $51,000 space, and then second apron, they have $10 million
to go. Okay.
And then in terms of guys who are leaving, I think after this year, it looks like they're. Wait, are these guys? Wait,
looks like it's Exum Dinwiddie.
Oh, it looks like everyone has a club option, apparently.
It looks like there's a lot of player options.
Yeah, it looks like everyone has a player option. So this team could go from having everyone to having nobody.
Yeah, man, this is such a bad situation. I truly cannot believe it happened.
And mind you, they have dead money hits in JaVale McGee and Moses Brown.
Are those dead money hits? I thought those were.
Yeah, it says 24-25 dead money hits. They have JaVale McGee $2 million, and then Moses Brown's 100K.
Right, which 100K is whatever, but interesting. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if you saw Dallas Mavericks also raise their ticket prices.
I saw that. I did see that. I'm like,
bro,
God, you guys are.
This is like.
What is Anthony? I'm curious.
Sabotage an NBA franchise in 101. That's essentially what we have watched.
So Anthony Davis's player option is after next season. So the 27-28 year, he can opt out.
So here's the thing, though. It looks like he also has a player option after this year. He has an early termination option.
He might take it.
So he could walk this summer. Theoretically, it looks like.
You know what? Part of me wonder are there any notables this year? Because I'm trying to rationalize this, and maybe I'm missing something.
You're talking like free agents.
Free agents, like there has to be some reason why they're like, hey, who do they want? Like, I mean, I guess the joke was like, oh, LeBron James could leave, but I don't think LeBron's gonna leave.
All right, let's see. The number one on Bleacher Reports. LeBron James
would be LeBron if he were to leave, but I don't think he's necessary. If he goes anywhere,
oh my God, it's Kyrie Irving as well. Wait, that player option was for this year, not next year. So Anthony Davis cannot opt out until 27-28, but Kyrie Irving has a player option this coming year.
God.
So he could leave. And then at that point, on this list, ranked number 3 is James Harden, Miles Turner, Naz Reid, Fred VanVleet, Julius Randle. Like
so there's not really a whole lot.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, there's some big guy out there.
No. And obviously, theoretically, they can always make a trade. Hey, what about this? Hold on. This just crossed my mind. Joel Embiid?
Yeah, go from one injured guy to another?
I mean, I'm just saying they make stupid decisions.
That would be a very stupid decision. That'd be a very silly decision.
Or maybe a Paul George or something. Like,
I guess, I mean, do we think that one of them's going to move this offseason? One of those two? Whether it be, I think
Paul George. I think
Paul George is more, I think both of them, honestly, because I think Paul George is like, I'm not doing this shit again.
I think Philly needs just a full-ass reset. Like, you have Tyrese Maxey and then start over. Like,
see, here's just, I'll throw out a crazy one. I think I could see Miami trying to get Paul George.
I could see that one too. Like, and honestly, like, pair him with Hero and Bam Adebayo. I don't hate that. Like, I don't know. It's at this point, like with some of these guys, it feels like they've bounced around so much, and they are just kind of shells of what they used to be. Like, yeah, you could sign them for a big contract. But, like, is it really moving the needle much? It's similar to
like it'd be like James Harden. Like James Harden's gonna sign somewhere, but it's like, what are you really gonna accomplish?
Right? Like, is he gonna help win you a championship? No, he's not. Like, he might be the third best player on a championship team, but that's never gonna be his role.
So yeah, it's one because here, I like looking at like the top three guys. Like, I could see James Harden going to like a Sacramento or something.
Yeah, I don't know where James Harden would
go. Or he might just stay with the Clippers. I
think that's probably the most likely one. Just because like I don't know who would really want James Harden because he's not James Harden of 5 years ago. And
he kind of fits that team even because see, this is the funny thing with the Clippers, and this has always been the thing with the Clippers is like I kind of forget Kawhi's there.
Me too.
Yeah. Which I think says a lot.
He's hurt all the
like,
time.
Oh, because I keep thinking James Harden's like by himself. It's like, oh yeah, Kawhi's there. That's right. They have Kawhi, so it's like, why are they the ninth team? What the hell is going on here?
I don't. Well, I think a lot of it. Yeah, you're right. I have the same thoughts. Where I'm like, wait, Kawhi Leonard's on that team, but also it looks like he's played 20 games this year. He's averaging 18 points a game. He is not. He is very much similar to James Harden, a diminished versions of themselves. Like, yeah, it's a big name, but they're probably about 60% of what they were 4 or 5 years ago. So it's easy to forget like they're even on the team. Like their leading scorer is Norman Powell right now.
Jesus.
So, who's awesome, by the way, but it's not what you would expect.
But I mean, the guys, like the whole, it just seems weird because you think like they have Kawhi, but then you look and like, wait, they're the 9th best team in the West. What?
The NBA is so stacked though, because like, yeah, they have Kawhi and James Harden. You're like, man, that should be a 2 or 3 seed. But then you look at the teams in front of them and name off the players, and you're like, okay, I get it. Like.
I'm gonna ask a very dumb question.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll be like, nah, you're crazy. Does he regret going to the Clippers?
I don't think so because I don't think he really had any other options. Are you talking Kawhi or James Harden?
Kawhi. James Harden. I think James Harden went where he could go.
Yeah, I think James Harden didn't have a choice. I don't know.
Because technically speaking, Kawhi and Harden technically, I think, works to a degree, only because Kawhi doesn't necessarily need the ball to be good.
Agreed. Yeah, like honestly, he's one of the few kind of non-bigs that I think works really well with James Harden.
But back to the original thing, because the only reason I say I think Kawhi regrets being a Clipper is because if you look at the Clippers and Lakers since he's been a Clipper, they haven't exactly set the world on fire since 2020 when the Lakers won a title, and then I don't even, what were their records? Because I know, like let's see, what were their records the past
with Kawhi Leonard?
So that year, the first year with Ty Lue, they finished 47-45, finished 4th in the NBA Western Conference, and then they lost to the Nuggets in the semifinals.
Yes.
And the next year, they finished 8th in the Western Conference, 42-40.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The next year, 5th at 44-38. Last year, 51-31 and for a 4th, and then they lost in the second round to the Mavericks.
Right.
And now this year they're 9th at 32-29. So maybe they'll finish 8th, but it's like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if Kawhi really regrets it because he's from LA. I think that it would be different if he wasn't from LA, I think, but because he's from LA, I don't think he really regrets it.
Is it just like
I guess
it could be? I guess it theoretically could just be a thing of like I just want to be home and I don't necessarily care.
And I think that might be part of it. And also, it's not like the Clippers haven't tried to help him. It has all been injury based. To me, it's been bad luck, which I would assume he probably feels the same way. That it's more or less bad luck that it hasn't worked out versus someone did something wrong. Because he's been in and out. Paul George was in and out.
But the whole I don't know if this makes a difference, but it's like you look at their roster.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying like the Lakers have done any better jobs necessarily, but I'll say this much.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers draft way better than the Clippers do. And I don't understand necessarily how, when it's sort of like they're kind of should be like the way the years go, they're kind of in the same kind of boat.
Right, they're both trading away a lot of assets to get these big name players.
And I know too, and I do know too that when it came to like when Lakers at the same time basically when the Lakers got Davis and the Clippers got George,
mm-hmm.
the Clippers gave up way more than the Lakers did.
Did they?
In terms of picks, yeah, it was way worse. Because because they gave up, it was a lot of assets.
I need to see because it was okay. So it was Clippers sent SGA, Gallinari,
5 first-round picks, and 4 pick swaps in exchange for Paul George. And I think that's until 2030 or 2031.
Yeah, something like that. Now I need to look to Lakers. I need to look at the trade to Lakers.
It wasn't that much.
So the Pelicans got Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks. So
because the whole and I would say because the Lakers talent they sent over had a higher ceiling.
And that's what I was going to say. Because the Clippers sent out SGA. That was the best player by far. But even then, he was in his second year and was not nearly who he is now. He was averaging 12 points a game, something like that. He was a good hey, he might be a pretty good guard one day type of deal instead of hey, he's going to be a future MVP candidate. The Davis trade is a similar thing, I guess, but they got Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, both of which we thought would be kind of all-star level players, and obviously injuries kind of screwed.
They traded the 4th pick to them too? I didn't realize that.
Was it the 4th pick that the Lakers traded to the Pelicans?
So it says Lakers sending Lonzo Ball, Ingram, Josh Hart, and the picks, including the number 4 overall selection in Thursday's draft. This would have been the 29th.
It's the number 4 pick. Who did that end up being?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember that. Because the first pick was... Zion.
Mm-hmm. Was it
Wait,
Zion?
it was DeAndre Hunter, who was traded to the Hawks.
Interesting.
Which I don't remember. Is he even in the league anymore?
Yeah, he is. He's
okay.
Still pretty good. He got traded to the Cavs this trade deadline.
Gotcha.
So he's a solid player. He's not a bad player by any means. I'm
so lost because it says Lakers drafted him, but I'm like, didn't the Pelicans draft him, or is it the weird thing of the Lakers had his rights, but they traded his rights.
That's exactly what. Yeah, that's what happened. So it was Lakers made the pick for the Hawks via New Orleans, and it looks like it was
the Pelicans. So the Pelican, I have no idea.
Essentially, the Pelicans traded him to the Hawks for Solomon Hill, and then picks 8, 17, and 35 in that draft.
For for Jackson Hayes.
Oh, is that who number 8 was? Was that Jackson Hayes?
Jackson Hayes, baby.
That makes sense.
Who is the best center in the league right now?
Hey, that's
bless you, Jackson
crazy
Hayes.
Small sample size, but yeah.
So hey, I don't care. I will take if Jokic was hurt and you had some random guy who was the best center, you don't act like you wouldn't be happy about it either.
That's true. You're right. Hey, you're right.
Wow, we have a lot. God, the Lakers have a lot of people. It's like soon to be Zion Williamson, also future Laker. The amount of Lakers on this team from this draft is insane. Jackson Hayes, Rory, Cam, former Laker.
Yeah, there's a decent number of them. Cam Reddish was on your team for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't very good, but he was on your team.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. So yeah, I don't know. But going back to the original question, I don't think Kawhi regrets it.
Regrets it.
No, I again, I think it comes down to bad luck more than anything, because the Clippers did what they could, and what you should do when you have a guy like that is just they just put all their eggs in a broken basket, you know?
Yeah, and the whole thing is at the end of the day, it's like you win a title, you don't care.
Right. They just didn't end up getting there.
Because that's what the Lakers did. It's like they won a title. We don't give a shit what we gave up. We won.
Right. The Cavs did that for years when LeBron was there. You trade out all your assets, get Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving. Well, I guess Kyrie Irving was there before, but like get all these role players, and then you win a title. Who gives a shit what you gave up? Like, you won.
But mark my word, Zion Williamson, future Laker.
So, do you
We're getting all the guys that they called fat.
Do you think it's true? Do you think that's even a good move by the Lakers? Like, truly? Because he's a monster when he plays. He's just hurt all the time. And is it like, it's similar to the Kawhi thing? Do you want to put your eggs in a basket that is missing the handle half the time?
I'm gonna say this is just me.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, if they were to be like, if the Pelicans are like, we don't want to deal with them anymore,
right? Yep.
And cut him loose and say, best of luck somewhere else. They don't want anything. They just want him gone. I don't personally see a problem taking a flyer.
Oh, a flyer 100%, but he ain't gonna be free.
But here's my this would be my logic.
Mm-hmm.
Is if you can if they keep Jackson Hayes, I'm not saying they're gonna keep Jackson Hayes or not, but if you can keep Jackson Hayes and he's cheap, like fairly cheap,
yeah,
and you have a chance to you get Zion for a first round pick and a pick swap.
Okay.
Why not?
And I think
because we know Jackson Hayes, if Jackson Hayes stays, is good enough. We were sort of talking about Alex Len, where it's like, hey, right, all you really need in the center spot, you know, you can be able, right?
Right, yeah.
You're a warm body.
So I agree
if the price isn't like broken, which I don't think it's going to be per se. So if it's like 2 pick swaps and a first round pick,
why not?
Because in the worst case scenario, you're at a couple picks. In the best case scenario, you have a guy who this is the big thing. He doesn't have to be the guy or the franchise.
He does not.
He can be the third. Truthfully, if the Lakers got him for the right price, I would be fine if he ended up being kind of like Aaron Gordon in Denver. I would be thrilled.
Well, yeah, Aaron Gordon is amazing. He's the perfect role player.
Like that. If he could do that, and it's just like, hey, be good at one thing, be a big body down there, and on top of it, I think a year with LeBron would change him instantly.
I mean,
because the one thing to me with Zion, I don't think it's a lack of like he wants to play an injury. I think the problem is he didn't want to be for all we knew when he got drafted, he did not want to be. He wanted to go to New York. He wanted to be
right. I mean, he didn't want to be in New Orleans, which is basically every
he
player.
didn't want to be in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So he's in a position where it's like, oh, I don't want to be here. I mean, yeah, he had a fun team around him, ideally. And I'm sure that was like when he first got there, he's like, oh, these guys are fun when we're all together. But they never were together.
Right.
And now they traded away Ingram. Lonzo's gone. Hart's gone. He's kind of the only one left. It's like, are you in a better spot now with him? Or would you better off trading him for, like I said, a first round pick, a random guy, and a swap?
I mean,
I'm not trying to be like, oh, because I'm a Laker fan and I want him. I'm just saying that might be the better play because you're not. And mind you, no team's in position to save the player, but it's like he's not like it's one of those things like he's not going to sign there. I wouldn't think, right?
Or if he does, he asks for a trade immediately, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I do think he ends up getting. I think the package for him ends up being more than we think because he's only 25, and when he's healthy, he is really good. And part of me wonders if a team will look at just the situation in New Orleans in general and say, I think that might be a franchise issue and not a player issue. Because they have had crazy injuries like for the last 3 years, like consistently.
And for the record, and also on top of it, and again, I'm trying not to be like,
trying not to be a Laker homer. Yeah.
I'm trying to be like a homer, but JJ played with Zion.
He did. It's true.
He played with Zion for a couple years. And I don't know what the relationship was like there. It might have been bad. I know he sort of made the joke of like, hey, I make the playoffs, Zion, don't fuck it up for me, and he fucked it up.
Right, yeah. I'm sure that was in jest, but
I mean, yeah, and the whole thing was like in that game he played against Lakers, I think tonight. Was it yesterday? I don't know. Yeah, it was yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
Because LeBron got 50K. He was 37 points. He was 17 to 23 for the field, 6 assists, 0 turnovers, plus 13.
It's pretty damn good.
Now, is he showing out because he wants to be like, hello, see, I'm still good? So, sort of thing. And again, I'm not trying to be a homer here, but I'm just saying.
I mean, it could be he's just finally healthy. Like, that's the thing is, like, he shows out when he's healthy. It's just he's not healthy a whole lot. But again, I'm
trying not to be a homer, but I'm just it's one of those things where I kind of laugh because I'm like, it makes all the sense in the world.
It does from like the Lakers' perspective, of course. It makes sense from Zion's perspective. I think if you're
plus where else would he go?
That's a good question.
Because it's not like what he is he still want to go to New York? I mean, does he want to play the 4? Does he want to play who's going to play the 5?
So
is Cat going to play the 5? No.
Here's the thing: if he goes to New York, I don't think it's the Knicks.
I
think it's Brooklyn.
God, if it's Brooklyn, I don't think that'd be a good spot for him. I think it'd be the same thing.
But I think like maybe Houston, they have a lot of young guys that they kind of need to consolidate. Detroit is actually really good.
Detroit would be interesting.
And
you know what? I'll even throw another one out there that I just thought that came to my head. Indiana would be an interesting one too.
Indiana's a good one. The Blazers aren't a bad one either. They're actually pretty decent this year. So like there are teams that I think would take a flyer and pay some assets for Zion and say, hey, maybe we already have a star like Detroit who is Cade Cunningham and say, hey, here's a guy to pair.
Indiana,
Tyrese Halliburton.
Halliburton.
100%. Houston has...
Van Fleet's leaving, but
they have the Thompson twin who is going to be a superstar because he's ridiculous.
And then
along with Jalen Green.
And then Scooter up in Portland.
Yeah. So, like, to me, those teams probably make the most sense for Zion. Because...
But are they in a position? I don't mean to cut you off. But
no, you're good.
But the question I would ask is, are they in that spots where they want to make that jump, or are they still sort of like a year away?
I think Houston and Detroit are.
Okay.
Like Detroit right now is the 5th seed in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is crazy because they were the worst team of all time last year. Houston is a similar spot. They're the 5th seed in the West, and they've kind of and they've been like slowly improving. I think both of those teams are ones that are in that spot where they have a bunch of talent that's young and maybe consolidate some of that for a big move. But you're right. Like Brooklyn, while they're very young, they're not ready yet. Portland isn't ready yet. Some of the others just aren't ready yet. Or maybe San Antonio. San Antonio, maybe. That might be the other one that's in that Detroit.
But the whole thing is like see, I wonder if they just wait another year.
And San Antonio probably could be the most patient of all these teams.
The only reason why I say like maybe they just wait another year is because I think getting Wemby another year in year 3 and then like going for it in year 4 probably makes more sense than doing it now.
Agreed, because even if they get somebody, it doesn't really matter who. The Spurs aren't a serious contender next year. Wemby is still very raw offensively. De'Aaron Fox got like 10 games with him.
Yeah, something like that. I would say if they want to do something, maybe get somebody like, I don't know how the free agent market will work out. Well, we got to talk NFL free agency because shit happened there. Here in a second, but I know it's also kind of like how the reason I was bringing up NFL free agency is like I know it's sort of like how the NFL free agency is, where it's like once the cap resets and stuff, like there are guys who get cut and guys who get bought out.
There are. The NBA has so much less than the NFL. Partially because the contracts are fully guaranteed, which kind of screws everything up in the NBA. Yeah.
But I know like it's not going to be like the wild west that it has been.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, we talked about who's available this summer. It's really not much.
It's no one.
Like, it's Kyrie if he decides to opt out. It's James Harden if anyone wants him. Like, it's not LeBron James if he decides to leave. Like, those are the 3 big ones.
The only
LeBron is leaving. Like, Cleveland might be.
I think it's. I'm gonna say this. I think it's 90% he stays because I think he wants to do a full year with Luka, especially if they don't get a deep run. I think he's definitely coming back. If they get a deep run, maybe he'll want to go to Cleveland, but I don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to go to Cleveland only because I don't think he wants to ruin it there, especially with the cap situation.
And not only that, but I think he has so much stuff outside of basketball in LA that like he just doesn't want to move away from. There's a reason he moved to LA, and 50% of it was not basketball related.
Yeah,
he's got the production company. He wants to.
Yeah, because he wants to do stuff after. He wants all this stuff afterwards.
Makes sense. Like, I mean, Kobe was doing the same thing. He was already in LA, but like, I'm sure if Kobe was in Charlotte his whole career, he would have wanted to go to LA late.
The funny thing with Kobe, you bring that up, and I remember him talking about this like post his. I think when he won his Oscar or something, he did an interview after, and I remember when he was talking about it, I'm like, this man could not turn off his competitive mindset to where he wanted to be the best in every field he possibly could be in.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never seen. It's like I've seen some competitive people. I've never seen a person like that.
Yeah, no, it's because he's a crazy person. So
he's a crazy person who, God, if his daughter Gigi, if they didn't pass away,
yeah,
you want to talk about an insane prospect for the WNBA.
For real though.
I laugh because I'm sure you've seen the clip too, where they keep saying where somebody made the in public, they're like, "Oh, you need to have a son."
Yeah, and
I guess she didn't take those comments too well.
I don't blame her. Like,
no, I don't blame her either. But I remember hearing the interview, and I'm like, damn, I would have loved to have seen a Kobe be the GOAT conversation for the WNBA, because you know how great mind you, that man's and I mean this, I loved Kobe. That man's ego would have grown 3 sizes that day.
100%. It was already huge.
It was huge, but it would have been the thing of he's proud of his name, but he would have been way more proud of her that it was his kid.
1,000%. Yeah, as all parents would be.
As all parents would be, and plus the amount of shit that man would talk to like Jordan, to Shaq, to everyone whose kid played in pro sports and didn't amount to dick.
Honestly, like, I mean, compared to Jordan's kid, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, didn't he marry his son? Marry like Dennis Rodman's or Scottie Pippen's ex-wife? I'm
pretty sure that is what happened. And I think he also got arrested last week, if I'm not mistaken. So
no,
I'm pretty sure. Was it Michael Jordan's kid?
Is it Junior? Was it Junior or something?
Marcus Jordan.
Oh, Marcus.
Yeah, he got arrested for cocaine possession.
Cocaine possession?
Yeah.
So the apple isn't far. Well, the apple don't fall far from the tree there.
Yeah, I mean, Michael
Michael never got caught, so
that's true. I mean, he did, but he retired and took a year off to play
That's
baseball.
true. That is valid. Valid. That is absolutely valid.
Yeah.
Wait, is he still married to her, or do they get a divorce?
See how long that's some shit, man. I don't.
Oh no! So he said he dated Larsa Pearson for 2 years. They never got married, apparently.
That's probably in the best interest of both of them. All right. Is there any other NBA stuff we gotta talk about? I think we covered it. Like we talked about the Kyrie injury. That sucks, even though I'm not a Kyrie fan. I hate to see it. Yeah. All right.
You can shift to the NFL because that got wild.
Yeah. So what happened in the NFL? I haven't really been paying a lot of attention. I know
Devontae Adams and
that's right. Adams
are now both free agents.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Bosa just got released.
Which one? Joey got released?
Yeah, from the Chargers. What?
Wow. That's wild. I did not see that one coming.
Oh, and that's right. The Seahawks released Lockett and Metcalf asked for a trade.
I did see that because I made the joke. I was making the joke earlier that it's all lining up for a reunion in Dallas, or not in Dallas, in Vegas.
For who? For
Metcalf gets traded to the Raiders and Lockett signs with it, and Russ goes over there and they just run it back with Carroll.
Ooh, that's interesting. I don't. Is that good? I don't think that's good. No, that's not good. Carroll doesn't like Russell Wilson anymore. I don't think.
I don't know.
What didn't they have like kind of a falling out a little bit?
I kept hearing rumors that that it would that was like an option. Sorry, I'm doing two things.
No, you're good.
That was an option that he would go back.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, here's all of the stuff that happened. So yeah, Bosa got released, which is interesting. I didn't see that one coming. And he kind of sucked last year. He had 5 sacks.
I think he was hurt too.
Last year he played 14 games. The 2 years before, yeah, he definitely was hurt. But last year he played good chunk of games. Was not fantastic.
I wonder if he just comes up north with his brother.
It could be. That would make a lot of sense.
Because he should be fairly cheap.
So the Metcalf trade request. A lot of guys I don't know. Oh, that sucks. Tank Dell had another surgery on his knee. That blows. Did you say Minshew?
Minshew got cut.
I mean, I'm not shocked there. So the Raiders is very interesting. Who is their quarterback next year?
They're going to sign someone or draft someone, I'm guessing.
Right, obviously, but like, because who's out there? Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins will be out there.
Yeah,
and
Darnold,
then
I guess, is out there.
Darnold.
Technically, even though it sort of seems like the Vikings want to just give him a long-term deal.
Yeah. But then
see, here's what's fascinating, and I'm not sure, because it's like they could go with Jameis Winston. It's not like Jameis Winston's viable enough.
He is, and that is just a fun ride all around, the Jameis Winston experience.
So, because the interesting thing, if you want to look at it, is like somebody like Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Jones sucks though.
But the only reason I say like that could be interesting is how many guys are like have the whole like we can fix him mentality.
Oh, the Raiders will definitely have that, especially with Tom Brady as the part owner.
Thing.
Yeah,
is like the whole like can we fix him sort of thing.
I don't know. Man. I just hope Shedeur Sanders doesn't end up with the Raiders. That's the other one I'm worried about, because there's a possibility, like you said, draft a guy. Shedeur is going to be there, and then I'm gonna have to not like Shedeur anymore. That makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't know, because in terms of just like free agents now. So my wild take has been for a while, because I think it'd be funny, is Devontae and Rodgers end up in Minnesota.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
I think that'd be hilarious.
That actually be kind of nuts though, with Justin Jefferson too.
I think that. See, the thing is, for me, I think that would be amazing. Because Devontae, because the whole thing is Devontae can play number 3 to Addison. Addison,
true, yeah. And then you have Aaron Rodgers getting revenge against the Packers twice a year.
Packers, and here's the whole thing. I guarantee it. If you told Devontae, "Hey, we'll give you a decent amount of money to be a number 3 guy," then who do you cover? Because realistically, they have 3 number 1 wide receivers in Jefferson, Addison, and Devontae. Even though I
was gonna say Devontae is maybe a number 2 now. But you're right. Like, just
my point being
the name
is okay. You double up because this would be my thought. They kind of did this year. Is like, hey, you double up Jefferson.
Who you have to, right? Yeah,
you have to. Addison's going to be more open because they know what Devontae can do.
It's true.
So that's been my big conspiracy theory is like they're going to go to Minnesota together, but it seems like they really want to keep.
It also fits the Brett Favre career arc.
No, I know that's the whole thing. It's like I need this.
Hopefully not some of the other stuff like late in after his career outside of football, but like, yeah, all of the teams. That's interesting. I didn't even think about the Vikings, but I think that would be just interesting. I would probably end up being a train wreck because Aaron Rodgers, but it would be fun as hell to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, because the only thing with Aaron Rodgers is it's like, I'm making the assumption he still wants to play with Devontae for one last ride or however long this goes, and that's not going to be in Vegas.
No, probably not. Well, yeah, because Devontae wouldn't want to go back to Vegas. Like, he did not end very happy there. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and then on top of it too, Chris Godwin's available. I would love him.
I'm sorry, Chris Godwin's available?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they didn't. Yeah, he's a free agent. They didn't franchise tag.
They didn't franchise tag him. Damn.
Nope.
Godwin is awesome.
I love him.
I do too. He's amazing.
Amari Cooper is also a free agent, but I think he'll stay.
And I don't know if he's very good anymore, if we're being honest. So who are the best available free agents? Yeah, Chris Godwin is a monster. Honestly, kind of light on the offensive side of the ball. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, if that, like a good number 3 at this point, but I don't know. At this point, I'm rooting for the Broncos to get a running back. I don't even know who would be available at running back that I would want outside of Genty in the draft.
I don't even know. I haven't really looked into the draft. I know it's not exactly.
I read one mock draft today that had Genty going to the Broncos at 20, but I've seen others too where he gets drafted.
I've seen where he goes way high, and I've seen where he goes way low. So I have a funny suspicion that people are kind of like,
just throwing darts at a dartboard, and that's pretty much what it is, right? But
yeah, I mean that's how it's been, but. Because, I mean, Khalil Mack's a free agent, which is that interesting?
I mean, probably not. He's another one that's kind of on the downturn of his career, similar to Joey Bosa. Like, it doesn't excite me at all.
I will say this, the one that I think could be fun, Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
He'd be great. I'm just going to say it. I don't want to get your hopes up. I think he'd be great in Denver.
I wouldn't say no, though we have some pretty good edge rushers.
You do.
The defensive line is somehow not the issue, which I thought it would be. To me, it's
You know what? It's funny. Looking at this list, you can keep going, but I was just going to say, looking at this list, there's not a lot of like, ooh, out here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like, oh, damn, he's a free agent. Like, it seems like
Dre Greenlaw's a free agent.
Right, who's awesome, but also he
blew out his knee,
his ACL, no, his Achilles in the Super Bowl.
Years ago. Justin Simmons, like there's names that I'm like intrigued, like Justin Simmons. That's an intriguing name that could be fun.
and he's awesome. I love Justin Simmons, but again, like the Broncos got rid of him last year, so it's not like, and that's the case with a lot of these guys is like a lot of the big names. You're like they've been on 3 teams in the last 3 years. You know,
I mean, like going down the list even more, like a guy like Mo Alley Cox. I love Mo Alley Cox. I love him to stay, but if he were to leave, for you guys, Stidham's gone. Stidham's a free agent. Like, there's just not a lot of like.
No, like you got Aaron Jones. Okay, cool.
But I know that's how.
Like,
I know that's how it. But it feels like that's how it always is, where it's sort of like you're not necessarily like in free agency. You're not necessarily looking to like get big names per se. It's more like
that's true. It's to help round out your roster. Rather,
you're looking to you're looking to fill a hole. You're looking to fill a hole. Like you're looking like. I kind of laugh. It looks like there's like I don't know. Maybe this is every year, but it seems like every year it's like there's always It's always guards and tackles and all these guys and safeties and stuff. Or it's like the unsexy draft picks.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, if you look, like, I'm looking at ESPN's top free agents. It's Ronnie Stanley, DJ Reed, Chris Godwin, and then Sam Darnold. So, like, those top 3 are big name, and then once you get to Sam Darnold, I can pretty much stop listening. Like, Sam Darnold's fine. He's quarterback, so I don't know.
But in terms, so here's the fun. This is the fun part. If we want to talk about interesting things now, in terms of because we're getting closer to draft in a month or so.
Yes.
So I'm looking. I was just looking at because I was like, oh, we can talk. Maybe we can talk about some mock drafts. There's one guy for the NFL who has 3 quarterbacks going with the top 3 picks. Shador going to Tennessee, Cam Ward going to Cleveland, and Jackson Dart going to New York.
The third one's crazy. Those other 2, sure.
Here's the crazy one. Abdul Carter going to the Patriots, followed by Travis Hunter going to Jacksonville.
I would hate that for Travis Hunter, but it makes sense because I think in most of what I've seen, Abdul Carter's like the consensus number 1 pick.
Well, here's what's so funny is I know he's hurt, and I'm like, I wouldn't give a fuck if that man's hurt.
No, 100%. He's a monster.
The whole thing is, this might be a wild take. If I'm Tennessee, that's who I'm taking number 1. I'm not hesitating. Give me the edge rusher. Fuck the quarterback. This might be a wild take, and it probably is.
Probably will be, yeah.
I think you're in a better position if you're Tennessee to take an injured Abdul Carter, stick it out with the quarterback you have now, whoever that is,
Mayo Man.
Where it's if it's Mayo Man or not, and just go with the logic of if we suck again next year and we have the first pick, it's going to be way better next year.
And that's the thing is, the Titans will suck next year, no matter who they draft. So they should just take the best player possible.
Take the best player
and take a quarterback next year.
Or trade it away and get a haul. Because you're going to be in the same position. You're going to be in the same position next year. Because just maybe, you can Carolina Panthers somebody.
That's true. You probably could, honestly.
Because it's like, that's just me. It's like I take Carter. Don't let him drop. Because
so just throwing this out here. 2026 NFL draft. You know which quarterback is available at that point?
Who's this? I can't think of a discussing quarterback.
Well, his uncle was a quarterback of both of our teams.
Oh right, Arch. That's right.
I mean,
you know what? I would.
I mean, wait a year, wait for Arch.
Hey man. If I'm in Indy, I'm tanking this year for Arch.
1,000%.
I need a savior. That's my savior, Arch.
Just get someone with the last name Manning.
And all he has to do is not suck, and he's gonna be number 1 overall.
1,000%. Yeah.
And if he dominates the SC, mind you. Oh God, I'm at the root for Texas because he's a Manning. Fuck me.
You will. We love all the Mannings here. They both won us Super Bowls, and they defeated the Patriots in the Super Bowl twice.
You know what? I'll root. See, you want to know what the funny thing is? One of my best friends is a Giants fan.
Yeah. Nice.
And they're going to suck again. See, this is the whole thing at the head games where I'm like, I would tell him, buddy, you don't want to draft the quarterback. You want the shot at Arch.
You want Archie, dude. That's the Arch. One. Yeah, you want Arch Manning.
You want Arch. You got to have that name on the back panel again.
So yeah, we know what the Titans should do.
So I'm looking. So Davis Zerlin has Abdul Carter number 1, which I think's Actually, I think Lance Erlines might be the top three. I think I like the most. Carter number 1, Hunter number 2, and Cam Ward number 3.
Interesting.
I think I like that the most. The only reason I say I like that the most is if I'm Cleveland, I wouldn't draft a quarterback. I would just re-sign Jameis.
Thing is, though, Cleveland has a decent roster.
But
though I can see the hesitation because of the Watson stuff.
But can I ask? Here would be this is my question, and you can say he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jameis Winston might not be a top 5 quarterback or a top 10 quarterback in the league.
No.
But he's I think him right now in terms of quarterbacks, he's probably 15, 16.
I was going to say, I think he's probably that middle of the pack-ish, like 15 to 20, something like that. I agree.
Because the whole thing is, there are Cleveland Brown fans that I follow on Twitter that have literally said, if Winston started, we probably would have been closer to 500.
Oh, 1,000%. Part of that, though, is Deshaun Watson was dog shit, like to the 10th degree last year.
Yeah. So my whole question is, if they think that, and I'm sure the worst coach in the NFL, for the record, I hate Stefanski. I think Kevin Stefanski is a dumbass motherfucker.
I know you're not a fan.
Who should be fired into the sun for the shit he pulled with Baker. Granted, I will also say, if he won't till he gets fired, and I want to hear his statement because I know the minute he's fired, he'll tell everyone really what happened with Baker.
Oh yeah, it was an owner thing. 1,000%.
It was an owner thing.
The owners are horrific.
Are idiots.
Yes.
But my whole thing is if that's the stance they're gonna go with, that okay, Watson's gone because he's still diddling people clearly.
Yeah, Watson needs to be launched.
And we think we could have done well with Watson, who won't cost you a lot of money. Why not go out there and have fun? Get 2 fast guys in Travis Hunter and what's his face that came from Denver last year?
Jerry Jeudy. Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, and go hog wild.
Yeah. Some Jameis Winston action.
And then mind you, I would say trade Myles Garrett because you can get a fucking haul for that, man. And then use that.
Yes. Yeah, no, they should definitely get a haul for him. So Jameis Winston, actually, I'm looking at his stats and stuff, and obviously he has some crazy throwing years. And I'm wondering, but he throws a lot of picks. And I wonder, has Jameis Winston, he has never had a good running game, has he? Because last year Chubb was hurt, New Orleans he didn't start enough, and Tampa Bay, I don't remember a running back they've had that's been decent since like Cadillac Williams.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if maybe Jameis Winston is the answer, at least for a year, if you give him a healthy-ish Nick Chubb and say, hey, you have a running game now, you don't need to throw into triple coverage. I don't know. But yeah, I'm a big Jameis Winston guy just because, one, I think he's hilarious, and two, he's actually good. He just does stupid shit like twice a game, and it usually results in a pick.
Yeah, so I'm just like, why not just, I mean, also too, I am a proponent of maximum fun, and I think Jameis
Winston is maximum fun.
Checks that box, is maximum fun.
His game against the Broncos last year, 4 touchdowns, 500 yards, almost 500 yards, 3 picks. It was stupid. It was a stupid game. It was fun.
I'm just looking through this. I don't see anyone saying Travis Hunter going to the Patriots, which I think's wild.
That to me makes like all the sense in the world. They have the quarterback already.
But I
think in most cases he's already gone. He's not sticking to 4.
If it's, I see one where somebody says Travis Hunter could go to like New York instead of Shador.
Interesting. Yeah, like the one I'm looking at is Cam Ward to Cleveland and Travis Hunter to the Giants.
I've seen that. I'm just looking through because I'm just sort of curious because I guess too somebody made the comment of like because Vrabel's there and Vrabel might be one of those inside out guys that he might just want to take the best tackle available.
That is true. I mean, Vrabel did make all of his wins because of Derrick Henry. So
yeah, so it's like they might take, if Carter's not there, they take Carter or they take an O lineman
or Mason Graham. Maybe that's who's in this one. Interior defensive lineman.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I was just looking. Like
I could pretend I know.
I'm not necessarily
Offensive and defensive line play, but
to be fair, I'm generally not one for like mock drafts because I don't
watch enough college to know.
It's not that I don't watch enough college. I don't watch. I know a YouTuber who does, and he's very good at his drafts, his mock drafts. And I'm just like, I'm one of those people where it's like, I can't. I don't know. Line play's boring to me, and outside of like skill positions, I don't pay attention enough.
Right? Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat.
Oh, speaking of draft talk, this is going to be a total 180, but we were talking about it, and this is funny. So there's a former ESPN guy who did baseball mock drafts, who I hate. I hate this man. His name is Keith Law, and I hate him with every fiber of my being. Yeah. I fucking hate this man. This was the man who a couple of years ago got all butthurt on Twitter and was ranting and raving because the Marlins hired Skip Schumacher to be their manager instead of I'm paraphrasing here, but he was basically upset because they didn't go out and hire a Latin person to be their manager. So I'm not joking.
He was mad just because of.
He was mad because he was one of those people who says it's cute, it's Miami. Why don't you hire a Cuban guy? Which they did, and they hired Ozzie Guillen one year.
That's just because it's Miami. That's just racist.
No, that's what everyone's like, buddy. That's racist. It's not racist. He's like, I just want a Latin guy down there. And it's like, no.
Just because it's Miami.
It was basically because like, he thought they had. And then he made because he wanted a guy who was because it's not out of the ordinary for like, especially like in like the so baseball has winter leagues in
South America, South and Central America,
because they have what's called the Caribbean World Series, so it's usually the all those teams.
Yeah. So
it's not out of the question for like former major leaguers who want to get into coaching
to start down there. Isn't Pujols coaching down there right now?
And when he was he was a special assistant for the Angels. And he said he wants to be a manager and he would love to do it next year.
Right.
And I think he's saying that because Washington's contract's only 2 years. So he's sort of putting his hat in there like, hey, I would like to, have a shot. Please don't coach my team, Albert. But, he's throwing it out there that he's there. But side tangent is he wanted a guy who was coaching down there. And he's like, you picked him over this guy. And somebody's like, the guy has no manager experience. He's coached down there. And yeah, he did okay. But they were saying like Skip Schumacher was a bench coach. He was in the front office. Like he has all this stuff. And then mind you, they're like, we're not saying that the guy you're saying couldn't, but when you're looking from like an organization standpoint, who do you want to have?
Who's the better candidate for the job, given the experience? He
does also a lot of weird things. He doesn't call the Atlanta Braves the Braves. He calls them Atlanta. He's one of these guys saying they need to stop the tomahawk chop only in baseball because college football and NFL don't exist. But nevertheless, this motherfucker.
So he's both racist and woke. I'm very confused.
I think he's there's this very weird. I've realized there's this very weird faction with people, where they get very timid around, and somehow it's baseball. I don't know why it's anything else. Where they love to hone in on the Braves for the tomahawk chop. And the funny part about it is I've watched Braves games because I like the Braves.
Right.
And everything I've gathered from them, for the most part, has been the tribes that they're in Georgia and around Georgia, they have a very good relationship with.
Yeah.
And all of them and every comment kind of has been, outside of maybe one guy, has been, hey, we're cool with it.
Yeah, there's a difference between what was Cleveland and the Washington football team, where they had racist caricatures, versus honoring, like the Florida State Seminoles, for example. Like, the Seminoles are chill with Florida State.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, because I was like, why? Because I for the life of me couldn't remember why they were called Braves, and I looked it up, and it's literally like, it was a Native American warrior.
Right.
It was generic. It's generic. It's not like anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything major from what I gathered. So it boggles my mind. But nevertheless, he put out his like draft rating, and the hilarious part is because the Angels have the number 2 pick, and everyone says, "Oh, there's consensus on who it's one of 2 guys, and they're going to take the one guy that the Nationals don't. It's Matt Holliday's second kid, Ethan Holiday, or Jack LaVallee out of Texas A&M, who's an absolute animal." Heath Law decided to say he was number 7 for whatever reason, because he's probably going to the Angels, and Heath Law hates the Angels.
I see.
I mean, mind you, it's baseball, so it's like these rankings really don't matter.
No, especially because you're not gonna see them until for 4 years.
Yeah, not necessarily. If you draft a college kid, it can be like it's like 1 or 2 most of the time, because baseball's like the NFL in college. You play 3. So if you commit and you play, you're 3 years. So it's a lot of teams will say like, "Oh, that's development time."
Yeah.
Because they're usually playing in like they play in wood leagues usually, like once if they're playing still and they want to keep playing, they usually tell them, "Hey, go play in one of the leagues." The famous one was the Cape Cod League. It's a wood bat league for college kids.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Scouts go and watch, and they usually they have a bunch of wood bat leagues so they can get their stuff down.
Get actual like MLB type reps.
Yeah. Nice. So it's not out of the question, but also too usually talent just succeeds.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So I'm actually curious. Let's. I want to look because I know the Rockies have a high. Who are the
Rockies projected to screw up development for in the next 3 years?
Let's see. Well, I know they're saying what's his Jace. Oh, his name is Jace Lavalette. Could go first overall. I'm like, I don't think Jace is gonna go first overall necessarily.
What I'm looking at has Lavalette going to the Angels at 2.
Number 2, because everyone's saying like Ethan Holiday. It's one I know. Like I keep, and the Rockies are what 4?
We're 4. They have us projected taking Tyler Bremner, pitcher from UC Santa Barbara.
He's disgusting. I've seen some of his. He's pretty great. Like there are a couple, because I follow some guys who like are in the college baseball more so than me, and they were saying they're like some pitchers that you can keep a hand on, and mind you, everyone's like, "Hey, just take the good guy."
They're like, "Man, his stuff, man."
No, don't get me wrong. I'm like, "Hey, draft a pitcher," but I'm like, no.
Right.
Yeah, the Ethan Holiday number 1, followed by Lavalette. Oh, Tyler Bremner going to the Mariners, and then the Rockies for MLB's mock draft. They have him getting Jamie Arnold, who also is fucking disgusting.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, the Bleacher Report one I'm looking at had 3 and 4 swaps.
Dare I say, I'm not trying to get your hopes up with him, but if I remember, how is this the tall ass motherfucker? Because there was one guy who was like Randy Johnson size. Is this
really?
him? I don't think it's Jamie Arnold.
No, I know he's 6'1".
Oh, he's 6. Who was the guy they were saying was like?
Seth Hernandez is 6'4". Randy Johnson was like 6'7", right?
There was some guy who's like tall. It's a pitcher that's coming out of here. I don't remember who it was, but
it's this guy. It's Cruz Schoolcraft. He's 6'8".
There you go. That's who it was. I was like, there's some guy. There was some guy who was tall that's slinging it, and then they're like,
Christ.
And they were saying he might not climb, but my God, that guy's gonna be a sneaky good pick.
Well, yeah, because he got like an extra foot before he lets go of the ball, dude.
Well, yeah, because the whole thing is like somebody said with Randy Johnson. I think it was Torrey Hunter made the comment. He's like, "Yeah, you face Randy Johnson. He's slapping you in the face when he delivers."
Right? Yeah, like it's crazy.
He's just. Boop. Oh yeah. Oh, he's going to the Yankees. I don't like that.
This one hasn't gone to the White Sox with their awesome number 10 pick, even though the worst team in the majors. So.
Oh, don't worry. That'll be the Angels this year. Don't worry.
So wait. So if multiple teams do that, because I think the Rockies might also be up for that.
Because I
think 10-11
record.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we going to be fighting it out for the 11th pick? Basically, we're all of the power ranking I've seen basically has us 2 of the top 3 worst teams in the majors. So I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
100. Yeah, I know it's gonna be misery for both of us. That's why I'm rooting for the Braves.
I'm glad I don't like baseball. This works out.
Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think so. We've been going for an hour and 4. So,
Okay.
Oh, Bryce, thank you for paying attention.
I
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Wednesday. We are not doing a podcast this Saturday because
nothing
I am
Saturday,
gone and you are gone. So, peace.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of
middle of work stuff. Hell yeah, I'm doing
work stuff and moving.
Oh yeah, have fun with that. All right, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back on next week.